episode was a perfect example as to why book readers need to just enjoy adaptations. Made it to the finale of Interview with the Vampire. There were major changes. Spoilers if you haven't seen it. Jacob Anderson is asking for an Emmy. That scheming montage where he's conspiring against the vampire theater and he takes time to meow at a dead cat, unhinged in a way that only an actor fully immersed in the role can be. I'm still very conflicted about Louis' character. His guilt and anger was warranted. I totally believe that. But he so actively played a part in Claudia's execution and also made sure that she always felt unwanted. And that is what makes this show so beautiful. Everyone is a monster. Quite literally, they're monsters, but they're all manipulative. They're all violent. They're all mean. And honestly, besides Lestat, no one truly takes accountability. While you can interpret this rampage as grief, there was also an anger there that reminds me of old Louis that we met in season 1. I'm not quite sure if he was seeking retribution for what he's lost or responding to the fact that he was wronged. And that's why I love Louis so much as a character, because he's complicated. It's hard to interpret his actions and tell like what's pure and what's right or how he's feeling. I will say one thing, Louis is putting it down on these vampires. He got 2 men over 100 losing it over him. Even though he's not physically stronger than Armand or Lestat, there's so much control over them. The Armand twist is the reason why I be telling book readers to just enjoy the show. Since season 1, we have seen major deviations from the book. It wasn't just characteristics, major events were changed. Like the minute we saw Claudia's origin story, we were on a different timeline. And I have to admit, I was one of those people who let the original storyline influence the way that I perceived people's actions. I interpreted Armand's guilt over his involvement with Claudia's death as defeat and helplessness because he couldn't stop the death of Claudia. That's because I knew in other iterations that Armand helped save Louis. And although I know in the books Armand is a bad guy, I felt like because of the direction that this story was going, you're going to see that he was someone who was abused and sad. Turns out that Armand is not just a terrible person, but he's also a coward. Planning your boyfriend's and his sister's death while going home to kiss him is treachery on a level that I'm not here for. And then begging to be with them and acting all guilty after is even weirder. And while confronting his lies, Armand was still trying to play the victim. Assad Zamar's fucking doe eyes almost got me again. The level of cockiness that you have to continue that lie for 70 years, especially when the vampire who knows the truth is out and wants your man, I think only comes from the fact that Armand is able to manipulate Louis' memory. But he was sweating when they went to go confront Lestat because in his mind, Lestat was going to expose them right there. I hope all the blood he drinks from henceforth is cold, that he lives the rest of his miserable life unworshipped and lonely. As always, Daniel was MVP. He was not with any of the shits from the beginning. Once again, I thought it was so strange that he told the guy from the Talamasca that he wants to live, because the way that he be talking to these vampires is as if he wants to die. It's crazy that he was able to unravel that story in like 4 questions. It highlighted what a great journalist this man was. Even though he empathized with Louis, he was sure to let Louis know that he was onto his self-righteous bullshit. That's why when he was talking about, oh, the rocks are still in my feet, he was like, cat. I thought it was both odd and bold of him to mention the Talamasca in front of these 2 vampires. And I think the fact that Armand didn't kill him right there when he mentioned the name shows how much that man has like a soft spot for him. I did peep he was a vampire during this interview because of his nails. Where did he get the power to change his eyes? Why hasn't anyone else done that? I also find it interesting that all the vampires want to kill Louis and not the vampire that actually exposed them. I do want to see more scenes of him being the annoying brother to Louis though. There are very few times that I feel patriotic, but something about Louis saying, pull up to my crib made me feel like, yeah, red, white, and blue, these colors run crazy. Because I always felt like come see me is an inherently American thing to say. Specifically a Black American thing that, you know, Louis is. Santiago's death was the most underwhelming part of this episode. I'm not gonna hold you, that entire revenge plot, I felt like they rushed just a little bit. Santiago admits to Louis that he was using Claudia's remains as makeup, and all Louis does is chop off his head very quickly. He deserved a slow death. Now I thought Louis was gonna do this one thing for me. I was a little embarrassed that his name is Francis. Need to let y'all know that we are not like this. It was a pleasure to hear Jacob Anderson yell my name multiple times. Like, why everybody gotta assign the name Francis whenever they want to say someone ain't what they supposed to be? They could have been Jonathan or so. I don't know. I was hating about that. Santiago, I'm gonna miss you even though I hated you. You definitely deserve to die. I just wish your death was more painful. Even when he's down bad, Lestat is this gorgeous man that I want to hug. Watching him play a fake keyboard, knowing how much he loves music, showed me that he was really punishing himself by taking away everything he loved to do. Music, decadence, drinking human blood, all that is gone for Lestat because he knows he fucked up. The reunion between him and Louis almost made me cry, and that's only because I try not to cry. But if I was a crier, I would have been boo-hooing that entire scene. It was so sad. But I was also happy to see that Louis didn't go back to this beautiful man. This is actually the first time Louis, like 150 years of living, that he is alone. And I am excited and encourage him to find out who he is outside of his relationship. I respected him and loved him for hanging up Claudia's dress, memorializing her after being desecrated and disrespected by everyone around her, including him. This is the best thing on television right now. There's a lot more to watch on TV, but honestly, not having the show anymore is going to put a gaping hole in my life. I give this episode 4 out of 5 Frankie Flames because I felt like it was rushed. But overall, this series deserves all 5 Frankie Flames. I'm going to miss you guys, and don't worry, I'm still going to break down other scenes in this episode, so we're not quite done yet. But if you haven't, be sure to follow me. I am breaking down so many other shows that we can enjoy together. And until next time, have a fantastic week, my friends.